Well, the recording came on really fast.
Good.
Must be ready for you.
Yes.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining me on this bright and sunny Saturday morning.
Good morning.
Just first of all, tell us your name and what do you do?
My name is BiNi Coleman. I'm the CEO of a nonprofit consultancy I started called 212 Catalysts.
Awesome. And you have a new endeavor. Tell us about that.
Well, you might have to tell me which one you're referring to. There are lots.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. Tell us about what you got going on.
What I got going on? Well, one thing that's most notable that everyone is noticing because it's out front is the African American Leadership Institute. So happy to say that we just closed our inaugural cohort. I just started this in 2021 and it was a great success. And we had a wonderful time together. Even though we were virtual most of the time, but we did have an in person closing reception as well. But it was what I have been describing as just an oasis of melanin in Central Texas. And even though we considered not doing it due to the pandemic, I think we needed it during the pandemic just to come together and see ourselves and just be together, learn, connect. So, yeah, the short OLLI is what we call the African American Leadership Institute for short. OLLI has been great. And then there's other things. I work with a list of clients. I'm usually more behind the scenes. And so groups like the African American Youth Harvest Foundation, I've worked with for years now. One of the big things coming out of that right now is, well, one, vaccination efforts. Uh, we're getting some momentum there, really getting out into the community, doing a lot of grassroots uh, action, and also basically spawning a African American men's health clinic effort in partnership with Larry Wallace Sr. and some others. There's a lot of stakeholders at the table. It's David's Foundation funding. We're creating a business and implementation plan so that we can really get the details concrete on how this thing will work and be funded and be sustainable. There are other groups that I'm working with. It really ranges. I work with, for instance, Austin Junior Volleyball. They want to bring what they've traditionally had kind of out west to the east side, to underserved areas of town and make it more affordable for families so that more people have access and can play and therefore be exposed to college coaches and recruiters who will give them scholarships that they may not have otherwise received. Just wherever I'm working, it's to create opportunities for people that I personally care about, and I think we all do for the community to make sure they get the opportunities they deserve, the resources that they need in order to properly move things forward, not always just working on that shoestring budget that we've traditionally been expected to work with, not just meeting at community centers all the time, but because, I want to see my people receive first class treatment, access to opportunities, and access to the ability to really obtain resources and have that quality of life. And so, whatever organization I'm working with, there's a list of about 10 right now, active clients that I have. And for all of them, it's all about helping the organization in order to enable them to help lots of people on the back end. And that ranges from small nonprofits and startups to institutions like uh, the school systems, Austin ISD, and the Texas Education Agency, and groups like that.
Awesome. That's wonderful. So tell us where you were born and raised.
Near Dallas, in a suburb called Garland. Basically, I was just 5 minutes from the border 635 where Garland turned into Dallas. So I'm from Texas originally. I'm native, and came to Austin to go to the University of Texas where I played volleyball, and one thing led to another. Started getting involved in community work, and that eventually became my calling.
And give us that journey of when you know, you left college and trying to figure out, what you wanted to do and to the success that you've had now.
Yeah. Well, of all trades, I love variety. I like trying different things. I was interested in lots of things. So I
Hey,
tried a
BiNi,
lot.
BiNi,
Yes. Am I frozen?
cameras froze. Okay, so
Okay.
all right, let's start that one over.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've basically tried a little bit of everything. Like I've traversed lots of industries from construction to insurance to hospitality to, certainly, as people know me for, community work, education, working with the systems. And I tried a little bit of everything. And I've always worked double, triple time, lots of jobs, side hustles, and everything, from graphic design work, which actually was part of what led me into business consulting, just because I was writing and creating more technical documents for businesses that were starting up or wanting to launch their efforts. So even as I would work jobs, I would always do things on the side, which of course now, I'm full on entrepreneur and just doing everything through 212 Catalyst. But it's had me all over the place. And I will say, something I say to young people a lot is try it all. Do everything that you think you might want to do, especially while you're young and have the energy. And I'd seen a lot of people who are older, later in life, using their retirement in their, I'll repeat that. I saw a lot of people later in life that would, for instance, retire, use their retirement income to start a business and lose it. And that's the position I didn't want to be in. And I learned from watching some of that, do it while you're young, do it while you can bounce back, and start something new and all of that. But don't have any regrets about something that you didn't try. And I don't have any regrets because I literally tried to do it all. And even though I was criticized for that, I was told I needed to focus. I wish you would just focus. And I just said, I'm focused. I'm focused on doing everything that I think I want to do. And then I'm eliminating possibilities. I'm eliminating things that I thought I wanted to do, but found that it's actually not that fun. Like I was artistic and creative, so I thought I wanted to do graphic design work and in art. But then I realized working for clients, like a lot of people want you to do a lot of work without paying you before they kind of are promising to pay you. And I was going broke, and Uh, so I learned that, and I didn't want to create under pressure. And so I just also learned that I don't want to do this for a job. I want to do it on the side as a hobby. And I started to figure out what are my interests as a hobby and something I want to pursue personally, but absent being on the spotlight, being under the pressure, versus things that I will do for a living. And so all of the things, though, that I did all along the way are the things that move into my skill sets that I employ now. So people wonder, BiNi, how do you know all these different things? Or you do that too? And they're scratching their heads, kind of looking skeptical, but it's because I've done it all. I've done a little bit of everything. And therefore, all of that now merges into me being an excellent resource for my clients.
What do you like most about your job?
Ultimately, the purpose that it's meaningful. It's a mission to help people, and I see the impact of the efforts, and I'm more behind the scenes now. So I'm the person that helps people get the funding in order for them to do, or helps them with the strategy or the ugly stuff on the back end, the finance, the data, how to engage your board, things that people often see as an afterthought, but it's important in order to sustain what you're doing. So it's great to be kind of that one hit wonder that gets some funding and makes a big splash. But if you don't do those stewardship pieces on the back end, that's where people get tripped up, and then you no longer hear about that good work. So the work I do is not only to make that first splash and get people on the radar, but it's the back end stuff, it's the ugly stuff, it's the administration and compliance and data and things that people don't really love to do who are mission minded, but is so important in order to sustain that great work. So some of my favorite pieces are, even though it's behind the scenes and people don't see it, but knowing that I'm helping organizations and groups to build sustainable models so they can keep doing that good work for a long time is one of my favorite parts, and a great trade-off. And then of course you see the faces on the front line and the people who are helped, and they're receiving tablets and food and vaccinations or whatever it is that they're needing, jobs, access to opportunity. And it's because of a lot of the things that are going on behind the scenes that I help to do. So for me, just ultimately the people I love are at the end of that chain, receiving the treatment that they should be receiving, the resources and the opportunity. And that always makes me happy.
What life lessons have you learned?
Woo! I have learned that no good deed goes unpunished. I've learned that the hard way, many iterations of being nice, trusting, unfortunately, I had to learn how to really set boundaries in order to keep myself afloat while I'm helping others. And especially in this world where we help people, then you always have, it's like swimming, right? And trying to rescue a swimmer who's drowning or struggling out there, and if you just swim out to them, they're going to grab you, and it's not ill intended. They're trying to kind of help save themselves, right? And they think that you can help keep them afloat, but you'll both go down if you don't work it strategically. So I've learned how to be in the boat and throw out the life raft or be attached to something that's grounded and solid and maintain my own foundation while helping others. Otherwise, I won't be around long to be able to help. So that was a big one, and it came through many, many, many waves of getting burned, figuring it out the hard way, struggling to come back. But ultimately, I think I'm getting better. And I think anyone with a good heart, you don't ever fully figure it out. But I've learned to give of my overflow, my excess versus out of what I don't have. And that has helped me to sustain in a lot of ways. And then another life lesson that someone taught me early, and well, in business, is keep it simple. Like when you're working your way, especially through sticky situations and minefields, and whether that's a PR minefield or something in business, and there are some hiccups, is to get it down to the main thing, boil things down to the simplest component that really matters, and stay there versus throwing the kitchen sink all out there and trying. And sometimes we think that we're improving our case by adding a lot of layers to it, and then there's this and then there's that, but really keeping it simple and to the point, and keeping the conversation and the issue very focused helps you to navigate through some of these stickier situations. And I've helped many a client in that way.
Describe your experience of being a Black woman in this country.
Well, it's interesting. So I'm, and a lot of people want to know this. So I'm half Black, half German, right? Because they look at me, they know I'm something. They're trying to figure out what it is. So I'm always like, let's get this out of the way. And I call that German chocolate, just kind of break up the tension. So I guess everybody loves German chocolate, right? But so for me, it's been, my German family is in Germany, though. My mother's from Germany. My father was in the military, met her. And then my family, where I've lived and grown up, is African American. And so it's been interesting for me being biracial. I've growing up, I always got the questions: is it hard being biracial? From people who want to know, and they're thinking about having maybe biracial kids, and what they're in. I'm like, is life easy for anybody? I think we all have our issues, and that we all have our issues to deal with based on our own perspective and who we are. And, I've definitely seen colorism, even, from within, where we kind of battle in all the unfortunate pieces of how sometimes we fight each other, which, not that white people don't fight each other, not that any other race didn't fight each other. I think we just feel it's very unfortunate because of our history and the level to which we feel we need to stick together. And so, I've received racism from both sides, and I had to just deal with that. Fortunately, I come from a family of pretty thick skin. When you talk about Black and German, like, Germans got some attitude too. So we were pretty thick skinned and just talk about things. So I was never offended or hurt. I just took it for what it was. It let me know something about the person who was saying something more than it made me think something about myself. Let me know, okay, you don't like me, then we will stay away from each other. You don't, agree with this. But I have seen where a lot of people came around over time, who maybe they were still around me, and started to just learn that, oh, I can trust this person, and and start to break down those walls. So I'm real big on racial reconciliation, and that goes all different ways. But bringing groups together, I've sort of always been the chameleon, the mediator, even in my own family, right? Because we're mixed up with everything. And I've always been the peacemaker, the person in the middle that can kind of get along with all sides. And I find that also in my work and what I do now in my calling, I can be in trusted circles on different sides, and maybe it helps my appearance and other things, or just my demeanor, but it's enabled me to hear the real conversations on all sides of these different issues, and even people that aren't Black or white, but just feel like I kind of look like them, and and I've got this calm personality, and which, for me, getting real information from people about what they really think is more important than people being nice. I don't need people to be nice but vague and covering up what they really think and then working behind my back against me. I'd rather know exactly what you think, and therefore we can figure out, is this going to work? Is it not? I know how to deal with you at that point, and even how to maybe address some of the issues that you have if you're direct and honest with me. So I've always appreciated that more, because I've seen the undercover, the covert, the back talk and the gossip and things like that. Coming to Austin has been a bit of a fish out of water experience for me, coming from Dallas. One thing in Austin is not that there's not a Black community, and people who've been native here. for a while, but you just don't feel like a Black community presence, especially now that it's gentrified even more and the urban sprawl is happening. It's just like, where do we find each other? And that was something I asked the first week I got here. And I feel like I got duped a little bit because I used to come here for Texas Relays weekend. I was an athlete, I ran track. So, and I thought that's what Austin looked like all the time. There's plenty of melanin in the crowd there and culture. And I thought that's what I was going to get when I got here. And it was a shock. I can tell you, it was hard. And quite honestly, for 28 years that I've been here, I never felt, matter of fact, we've gotten further from it because of the issues of gentrification and the dynamics around that. And quite honestly, that's brings it back full circle to Ali, the African American Leadership Institute, and creating that. And it wasn't my idea, it was Keith Creech, formerly known as Donnell Creech, who we finally found each other in 2020 after both being here for all these years. We had never met, which is kind of indicative of the problem. But he had this idea for like a Black leadership Austin kind of a group that he's had for years. And I kind of coupled that with these issues of Black flight and Black professional retention that our major employers are having. They all kind of go together, and our lack of connection. I've known so many people who have come and left because they didn't feel connected. So, anecdotally, we know that this lack of connection is an issue that is causing some of that decline of the Black population in Austin's core over the last 45 years and the employer retention issues. So, Ali really has become a solution to just connect everybody, to create a prominent connection hub, not to recreate what anyone else is doing, but to connect what everyone is doing so we can find each other and we can also know where we can lend our voices in the greater Austin community, whether it's on boards or advisory groups where they need our voice and they're kind of looking for it but can't find us. Because I've also dealt with people who are looking to diversify now their boards, they're enlightened, they're trying to do better, but they don't know anyone, which is also indicative of the problem that we just don't know each other. So when people ask me, particularly white people in circles where I'm now presenting, and they say, well, what can we do? I'm like, everything doesn't have to be a big formal strategy and plan. You could just get to know each other. You can just show up, get to know people who don't look like you, and start to get to know them as people and not as within the power structure of I'm coming to you for funding or a job and you're going to approve this thing now. Just get to know them like you do at backyard barbecues and your sailing club, and invite them out and just socialize, because the fact that you can't find people to diversify your board means that you really just don't even know anyone that you can even ask. You don't have a friend that you can ask, who can we have, to possibly join this board? Do you know anyone? And so just starting with the basics, the real basics of reminding people to just get to know each other is on a human to human level,
Yeah.
versus, in the context of a big initiative that's designed to help people.
Yeah, and I know in the work that I do, I found that one of the issues is there are no opportunities, or there are very few, if any, opportunities for them to engage the community. And and so I think Austin has been that although people say it's diverse, it's not diverse, but it's even though it's 1935 where the blacks and whites are separated by I-35, it is still separated in a lot of ways, just because of, it's the historical, you know, presence of what happened. And and so that's one of the things that, I mean, the gala that I do every year,
Mm-hmm.
that's an opportunity for people who honestly, who are writing checks, to see other people who write checks who don't look like them. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that people were like, oh my God, like, wow, these people are here. And it's like, yeah, it's they're here. It's just that, nobody's really engaged and gotten them together, in a big way,
Right.
right? And so this is what we need to do, continue to do, and everybody has to do their part. I can't do it all, you can't do it all. Black Chamber can't do it all. And there's so many ways that we can do it, but it's it's definitely getting better. It's getting better, and I'm really excited about what you're doing. Um, and that's why I wanted to, to highlight you and what you're doing, because I think it's important for people who do write checks in a big way to see other
Mm-hmm.
organizations, because people ask me all the time, well, should we support this organization? Should we support this organization? And, I mean, I don't know a lot of them, honestly, but
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what I know of them. And so, but this is a way for them to reach out, right? Because now you're all connected, right? And they know you. So they can't say they don't know you, right? They can't,
Right.
they don't know what you're doing, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, and that's what when I talked to Quincy yesterday, I said the same thing. It's like, yeah, people know what the Urban League is historically, but it's another thing for it to be in their face and for them to say, okay, well, I need to be intentional about finding out who this other person is that's in this, this cohort with me. And so that's what I'm excited about for all of you guys is, you know,
Right.
and
And
even
and
though
it's going to come through intentionality and being deliberate
you're,
and strategic about how we join people together until it becomes natural.
yeah,
It has to be intentional.
absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. So I got a few questions from Tim Ferriss that I really liked. And one of the questions is, what purchase of $100 or less has positively impacted your life over the last 6 months or recent memory?
Ooh, purchase of $100 or less. I want to say food. I like to eat and it makes me happy. So probably, and but I don't like to have a limit on food. So when I used to be, and I struggled in Austin for a lot of years before I even got to a point where I made any kind of a living salary, living wage. And my one of my big goals was I just don't want to have to not eat what I want to eat because I don't have money. And so now it may be less than $100, but uh, it might be close because I like to take myself out to uh, eat nice places, enjoy a little of an experience. And I just sit there and everyone's like, "Oh, you by yourself today or just one?" I'm like, "Yeah, just one." Like, I actually enjoy this. I like people that I see, they come in, they're like, "You're sitting by yourself?" Like they're feeling sorry for me. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sitting by, I like it. I like it here." So I would that's really what comes to mind when you say that is I've taken myself and treated myself well on some occasions for less than $100, but it was an experience I needed to just center myself in enjoy and maybe even celebrate a little victory that we won for a client or something. But I enjoy doing that.
Awesome. If you had a gigantic billboard anywhere in the world and you could get a message out to millions or billions of people, what would that message be and why?
It would be simple, just love one another because I think a lot of the issues that we are having in society and everything, there's just a lot of scowling faces, quite honestly, even in the name of doing what's right. You can see it in people's demeanor. You know, there's hate, there's venom, there's or just disdain. And that often says a lot more about the person that it's coming from than the person that it's going to. But I really think a lot of places where we're trying to figure out, should I like them? Should I not like them? Should we side with these people or those people? And allegiances and all of these different things that make us have to make decisions about uh, who we think we should be supporting or telling good job or uplifting. You know what? It's just all too complicated. There's just too much out there. But if you just love one another, that really covers just the multitude of issues. And I just know that I care about you as an individual and I want you to do well. And that begins to drive the motive for any action on my part.
Excuse me. Over the last few years, what have you become better at saying no to?
Uh, I've become better at saying no to, well, requests for money. I've learned how to say I don't have it to give, which doesn't mean I don't have $5. It means I don't have $5 to give you right now. So I've had to pick things up from people like, oh, I like that. So
Black tax right there.
yes, I've learned how to say no to that in order for me, again, to just be able to keep afloat myself and be in a stable place. I've also learned just to say no to even good opportunities. People coming at me with maybe jobs or contracts or just opportunities to show up places or do things just to preserve some space for my own mental health, for me to just kind of go back into my cave and understand the balance of time, which I'm still not a master of, still figuring it all out. But just saying no to things that will infringe upon time, energy, and it doesn't mean I can't join you later. But for me, if you're my friend, you understand when I have to say no and not needing to make up an excuse or a lie to go with the no in order to justify the no. We should just be able to say no, and people take us at our word. So, um, just even sometimes saying no to opportunities, even saying no to money, certain kind of money. All money isn't good money. I've definitely learned how to say no to that. So, lots of strings attached. I can't help you. So, yeah, definitely learn how to say no to a lot of things.
When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused or lost your focus, what do you do to get back to center?
When I feel lost or focused or overwhelmed, I take a deep breath. I remind myself that I can only do one thing at a time. So it's just what's the priority now? And I remind myself that people will wait until I get down my list to the next thing. The types of work that I do, types of tasks often are very involved and require a lot of concentration for a period of time. And I just have to get through it before I can get to the next thing and the next thing. But I've also learned that I probably put a lot more pressure on myself in that anxiety and that overwhelmed feeling often isn't shared by the people around me. They're not as worried about it as I am. So I also remind myself of that. Like, is this a self imposed deadline and a self imposed task or sense of how this needs to happen? Or is this really coming from someone else who really expected all of this? And those things combined, then I just start working on the next thing and the next thing and do my best. And pretty much often or almost all of the time find that my best is actually good enough.
What's an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love?
Mm. Unusual habit of absurd. Okay, well, my husband will tell you, like, I fry noodles. And back to food. It's always about food. Food for me. I fry noodles and sprinkle some salt on them and eat them as a snack, and I love it. Oh my goodness! So that is one that comes to mind because he's always scratching his head and saying, "You love those fried noodles? Like this is just weird." I don't know. I got it from my mom growing up. I don't even know that it's a German thing. I think it's just a thing. But there's some things that I eat in particular that has people scratching their heads. So I would say most of the absurd, weird things for me boil down to eating yet again.
Awesome. What is the one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made?
Hmm.
It could be anything. It doesn't have to be, a value.
Yeah, I would say best investment, worthwhile investment ever made is probably when I accepted the call. I saw a video that let me know I was supposed to be at a summer camp called Kids Across America back in 1995. I was at UT at a Monday night Bible study with Dr. Renee Rochester, who is amazing and was a great mentor to many of us. And I walked in for the second time to this Bible study, and she showed a video where she was a director at this summer camp called Kids Across America. And it was just at a time when I had really prayed for what is the next step for me, for my purpose, and where I'm supposed to go in life. And here comes this video, and I just knew I was supposed to be there, even though kids were never on my radar before that. I had corporate aspirations. I was going to be a big executive in some big firm. I knew nothing about working with young people at all, but I knew I was supposed to be there. And I went, and it was hard. It was not easy, but it was so meaningful. And I kept going back year after year. And that started eventually scooting me into what I consider my calling. And now I actually merge these worlds. I still love business. I love business and studying it and the best practices and all of that. And I have an MBA, but I merge that into the social services world, the education world, in order to help folks do a better job. But I think accepting that call that day and going ahead and stepping out into very unfamiliar territory, but just knowing it was the right thing was clearly the best investment because it got me here.
How has failure, a challenge, or apparent failure set you up for later success?
I believe in the failing forward concept. I love John Maxwell in particular. I'm a John Maxwell geek a little bit, but failing forward, just understanding that what we call failure, business failure, I'm that person. I've tried lots of different things, even in business and entrepreneurship, realized this isn't the thing. This didn't work. This wasn't successful. Now, finally, after many attempts, I have this nonprofit venture that is just breaking through the roof, and people are pursuing us. But I couldn't be here if I hadn't tried lots of things. And I believe that there's sort of the fear cycle is real. Like you got to be willing to step out, face the fear, but move anyway. And by doing that, you gain experience. And by gaining experience, you increase your ability to do things. And the more ability that you have and experience, the more confident you feel the next time around, continuing to build on that. And so you can either let the fear cycle stop you and make you continue to fear because you're not able to do things and you don't have experience, or you can make it work for you by pressing through all those uncomfortable moments, trying it anyway, and gaining the experience and the ability to get you eventually where you want to go.
What's your superpower?
My Secret power or superpower?
However you want to describe it.
um, oh wow. I mean, I don't know. I think if there's a superpower, it's admitting what I don't know and just being willing to learn from anyone and everyone. Wherever there's good information, I soak it in and I can use it. And, where there's negativity and bad information, I can parse it out. I don't have to call it out, but just synthesizing information and using it to build toward the next thing. I'm very input driven. And quite honestly, all of the magic that people see in the initiatives that I help start, it's all about process, and it's always about group process that involves a lot of input from a lot of people along the way to make something really powerful in a way that you couldn't have done by yourself. So I think if I have a superpower or a secret weapon, it's understanding group process and work in a process.
What are you most proud of?
Most proud of, I'd say now with a 5-year old daughter who is amazing. I think I'm most proud. She wants me to be proud of her, but I'm most proud that she wants to be me and wants me to be proud of her and really just sees mommy as some kind of a superhero, even when I'm feeling like I'm not doing a good job. But most proud of her, just seeing her, she becomes that mirror to reflect what you've taught, good, bad, and ugly. Kids tell it all. So sometimes I have to laugh at myself. But I think I'm most proud of persevering through early childhood, which has been a challenge for me. Again, I never worked with young, I never changed a diaper before her. So I might be most proud that I learned how to change diapers and follow the example of an infant into toddler, into the kindergarten, and she's not broken, and I'm still here. So I'm very proud of that.
What do you see as your purpose in life?
My purpose is to help people to help people. Pretty much simple as that. I help people, yes, in general, but it's refined into I help organizations and groups in order for them to help more people. The more that I can reach through me helping others, is the goal, and I think it's the meaning of life, right? To bring some sort of a positive impact into the world and leave something behind. And every night that I go to sleep, I know I've done all that I can do. I've left it on the field, and others will benefit as a result of that. So I would say, that.
Who's your favorite person?
My favorite person, I think now in real life, it's got to be my 5-year-old daughter. She's awesome. My favorite historical person is Malcolm X. I love that he was somebody who didn't mince words, who always had the response. Like, he was just articulate, like you almost just couldn't beat him in a battle of logic, but he was going against the grain in many cases and saying things that were unpopular, but willing to take a chance. And there are of course others who did the same. But I just really love the way he had this cool head, and no matter what people came at him with, he had this response that would just always be like so on point, a little bit humorous sometimes, and really call out the errors in logic and in people's uh, ways of doing things, that and just kind of he shed light on things in a way that probably a lot of people had never thought about things in a certain way that he was able to articulate so well. But then you were like, but he is exactly right. But I've just never made sense of it that way. So I really miss having him. Like, I wish I could have a conversation with him, and I wish I could see what he would say about things that are going on today, because I know it would be like above and beyond, and something that we hadn't thought of that we could really use. And I hope to be something similar and bold in saying what needs to be said without fear of repercussions.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I mean, I would probably give my younger self, well, I mean, I'm going to say the advice that I'm now giving to young people, like, try it all, do it all. I'm glad I did, and I was hard headed and I didn't listen to people and just did it. I would stick with that. I would reaffirm myself that I was on the right path with that, and probably just some of these lessons about, learning how to keep on your own foundation and not let others try to build on your foundation, or you will sink along with others. But you have to build your own foundation, and then send out the life raft, send out the life preserver for others, versus jumping all in enabling yourself to possibly sink and drown along with others in order to help more people and keep yourself uh, up well and sustainable in order to continue this work into the future. Uh-oh, I think you may be on mute.
How are you using your platform or your power?
At this point, when I started 212 Catalyst, which startup year was pretty much 2019, and then first full year was 2020, I feel like me branching out, getting outside of the systems and the institutions, as in not working for one of them, has enabled me to be more of myself and to be all of myself. And so, whatever superpowers that I may have or powers, like, I can bring them all to the table in full force without having to mask or dim down the light because of where I sit and who I need to represent at the time. I'm just representing me. And so everything that I know, everything that I love, everything that I've ever obtained, and all my talents and abilities and assets, I'm just bringing them to the table now. And unashamed, and not masking how I talk, how I look, how I shine for anyone at this point. So I think I think that in itself may be a superpower for many of us who have had to mask parts of who we are in order to conform, and an encouragement that there comes a time when you just have to, like, boom, break out of that and be yourself in order to really unleash the fullness of what is purpose for a person.
Do you have a favorite book or a book you recommend?
I'm bad about books. I won't lie. I read too many technical documents and then I'm tired. I would say John Maxwell leadership series. He's got lots of books. I love reading them. They flow for me. I can read a chapter at a time. It's easy reading, but it's meaningful. You can get these great nuggets and lessons that help with leadership and life in general. So I would just point to probably any of the John Maxwell books. They always give me some sense of something new that I haven't thought about in a certain way, and inspire me to do better in the future.
What do you enjoy doing in your leisure time?
I play, well, I eat. I told you about eating. I eat. These are my hobbies. I eat and I play volleyball. I do play, I like to play sand outdoor now, partly because I'm old and it's easier on my joints and it's good exercise. I get out in the sun. I unplug. You can't play volleyball with a device in your hand. So it forces me to put down the phone and the laptop, just get out there and also just with a different group of people having different kind of conversations. So I call those my mommy days where I'm a little bit selfish and might go play in a tournament or something, but that's sort of my happy place.
Awesome. This is our last question. What does it mean to be chosen as our top 10, one of our top 10 diversity champions for 2021?
Wow. Well, it was a complete and total surprise for one, just to see a post that, oh, I'm on the I'm on what list? You know, a top 10, and with what other people, you know, and just looking at others who are on the list and who have been in the past, and then also other honorees and in other categories, people that I really respect and admire. And I mean, it made me feel seen. I usually am very behind the scenes, and it's letting me know that uh, people are noticing, which quite honestly, you know, has a couple of different implications for an introvert like me. It makes me gives me a little bit of angst because I'm not a person that likes a lot of attention, and at the same time, I'm leaning into it and really embracing, like, wow, you know, the gravity of what what's been accomplished and what people are seeing, and really causing me to reflect on, like, Ollie in the journey, particularly there, and the other work that I've done to put money in bank accounts so people can do good work or help move strategy along in a variety of ways. It just it just caused me to reflect and just really say, wow, but I'm just honored and surprised all at the same time. And it's also challenging me that, okay, people are watching. What are you going to do next? And I have no idea what that is, but I know it's going to be good.
Awesome. Well, as I said, that was my last question. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Ah, nope, about to take the baby to her little flag football game. So about to switch gears and put on some warm clothes and get out there in the elements. But so it's back to being mommy on a Saturday. But thank you for all the work that you do to really elevate and highlight. You know, everyone sort of has their mission and their calling, and the space where they live and move in order to move things forward. And it is important to recognize and highlight. As much as I always say, I don't like attention, I don't want this. I've learned the value of recognition, and people had to teach me that
Right.
and tell me, no, it is important to
Right.
be recognized for the reasons, for the right reasons, the kind of reasons that you mentioned. So thank you for what you do in that regard. And I'm honored to be a part of it. Just, you know, let me know what else you need from me. And I sent you some pictures. I don't know if they'll work. Uh,
Yeah, I saw. I think I like the first one that you sent. I think you were standing up. So I did like that one. I like,
what
I
was it, high resolution enough though?
no, I didn't look to see that. I have not. I did another nine. Yesterday was my second day in a row of 9 interviews.
Oh,
I know, right? And so today I only have about 3 more. So yeah, I mean, yesterday was our deadline, but we had to work some folks
mm.
in. So
Well, the
glad
just,
we got
I
an
mean,
opportunity.
the main problem with the standing up shot is I think it might be low resolution, too much, and it could probably be photoshopped a little bit. You know, there's some lines in the
Yeah.
back running across. I think that would be easy enough to do, but Let me
Yeah,
know
I'll take a look today.
if I need to just find someone to take a
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
shot.
and I've got a guy who's doing some photos for us, and he's actually, I mean, the photos were really good. And Eric Coleman, he does some photos,
Oh,
and we've
yeah.
asked Eric to help, and not like charge you out the butt,
Mhm.
for a few photos. But yeah, I mean, you've got some great photos. I think
Okay.
somewhere out there, I think took something off the internet, but
Well,
yeah.
and there's sort of those in action, like with other people kind of shots.
Yeah, so and that's what I'm trying to figure out if we're gonna how big the article, because we thought we were gonna do maybe a page, but we normally do 2 pages, and when we do 2 pages, we do you and kind of telling your story with other photos, and so the one you send a photo with you and some of the girls, and that kind of
Mhm.
stands for what you do and what you've been doing. So I like that. But yeah, I'll let you know today
Okay.
for sure if those don't work. But yeah, I mean, I know you said you're going to be out of town for the gala. I really wish you were going to be here because
Ooh.
it's really cool, to have you guys in the room, and because it's honestly, I hear people all the time say, you know what, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be able to say hello to her in person. You know,
Yeah, and and it's because I'm sipping on a cruise ship on
well,
that day. So had it been anything else,
yeah,
I would have
yeah,
switched. In matter of fact, for a minute, I thought my reservation may have gotten canceled. I was like, oh, well, then I can make it to the, but cruise ship, you just can't
for
change
sure,
the
for sure.
embarkment. Like, and I don't know, like internet and all that.
Okay.
So that's why it's more of a hard
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, and we waited late to even, just approve the event. I mean, we've been working on this since March, and I've been like with the hotel, like, no, we're not going to have it. It's just
Mm.
COVID. But at the end of the day, we just said, you know what, all we can do is mitigate risk, and
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 people do want to get out. Like we did our that last Friday, an optional in-person reception to
Mhm.
close. Ollie, most of the folks made it and wanted to be there. Several that didn't make it, it wasn't because they were
Right.
uncomfortable with COVID, and lots of people wanted to come out and be together. So for those who do, I mean, they're packing out
Oh
stadiums
yeah.
to come
Oh
to
yeah.
the
Oh
event.
definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, we actually ended up I think the day I had to cancel your interview was, my sweetie wanted to go to the World Series. So we were like
Mhm.
mad dash to try to make it to Houston. Oh, sweetie pie. Oh my goodness.
There she comes.
Adorable. Capital A.
There's that little baby pie.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I know, man. Oh gosh.
Mm.
So all right. Well, I'm 1 minute late for my next one, but
Okay.
I thank you so much again for just sharing the time. Oh my God,
Mhm. Thank you.
I
Thank
love it. Oh my gosh, that is a mini you.
you. Mini me. Yeah. She's my mini
Adorable.
me.
Oh,
Yes.
adorable. What's your name?
Sabani.
Devani. It's so nice to meet you. I love that hair. Love, love, love that hair.
Yes, it is. It is out of control. We love it. Like I was like, girl, you are gonna have some pain in your life around that
Yes.
hair,
Oh
but
boy.
it is so
No, I'm
beautiful.
not.
Everybody wants. She's like, don't touch it. Don't touch my hair.
I know, right? Oh my God. Adorable. Oh my gosh. Well, again, thank you. You guys have a wonderful Saturday. Beautiful.
All right, you too.
All
Thank you.
right. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.